I'm blind taste testing 96 different branded lagers that I've picked up locally to me. I've whittled down the 96 lagers to just 8. 4 of these will progress to the final, and 1 of them will be crowned the Lager World Cup champion. Welcome to semi-final 1 of the Lager World Cup. We've whittled down 96 lagers down to just 8. I say we, me, and you've been along for the ride. So these are the first ones from the semi-final. Second one coming after. 2 of these will go through to the final. So we are potentially looking at one of the winners here. Let's get started on beer A. Beer A is a nice, we're looking at towards a golden malt colour. I don't know, it looks to be maybe a bit of chill haze on there. It looks a bit too dark for a malty one, so it could be the fridge temperature. I'm looking at some of these. They look crafty. This doesn't. This has a bit of chill haze on it. That's what I'm going to say. There's not much head retention on this. I'm just swirling it around to just double check. Oh no, there is. The head builds up quite quick. Yeah, so there is a nice tight white head on top. Good malt colour on it. Let's go for the nose. Beautiful, lovely malt nose. Oh, that smells, it's got like that toasted, roasted malt and a light sweetness to it. I think I already know which one this is. I mean, it's easier to cast your mind back to 8 that you put through than, 16 or whatever, 64 before that. I know what I'm going to get with this one, so let's go in for the taste. Oh, the booze hit a bit more. There's a bit of a booze hit on that. The booze hit, but it does leave a nice malty note to the end. Yeah, that toasted malt flavour comes all the way through. Carbonation could be better on this one. The carbonation isn't the best. I would say take it up a slight notch on carbonation, and that is going to be an outstanding beer. And I think you would struggle to beat it lager-wise if you put it up a notch on carbonation, just to get that flavour going around the mouth a bit more. But that's a good start with beer A. Looking at beer B here, this is probably the darkest out of them. It's slightly darker than A. It's definitely moving towards the golden era side. It's being filled quite high by the missus, so I can't actually swallow it much to see if the head builds. The head has died. There has been a little bit of a gap between setting this up and the pouring. I do apologise, that has had an impact on the head, and that's happened a few times, I think, on the filming. I've tried to mention that when that has been the case. So nose-wise, we are getting that sweet malty nose coming through. It's different than A, because that's a sort of toast or roasted, but this is a little bit of grass and just sweet malt. Let's go in for that taste. Oh, that works well. The body is good on that one. It's got, I think, the perfect sweetness balance. It's not overly sweet. It's just slightly, for me, it feels like it could do again with a slight bit extra carbonation. The carbonation's there. I can feel it going over the tongue, and it's carrying that malt across with it. It's beautiful malt flavors. It's a very sweet malt as well, but it's not an overpowering sweetness. It's not a sickly sweet. It's a good sweet. That is, I mean, that's a good start. Again, like quarterfinal one, we seem to have a split down the middle where we've got too dark, too light. And both of these look hazy. So it could be traditional versus craft. I don't know. It all comes down to my taste buds, which is going to go through. I think enough yapping. Let me get on to C. So C here is the palest out of them all. There looks to be a light sort of chill haze or hop haze or just hazy lager look to it. There is a head still on it. Unlike the others, this one has retained its head. If I swirl it round just to double check, yeah, that head builds up so quickly. You can see that. So I'm going to imagine this is a really good carbonation. Taste-wise, I mean nose-wise first, sorry. It has a light cereal lemon nose. Yeah, it's more cereal. Okay. I can't think what this one was, thinking back to the quarterfinals, what I put through that was this one. Anyways, let's go for the taste. Oh, that's quite drying. That is quite drying. So there is a lemon. There's a drying element. There's a bitterness element. It feels overly drying for me, unfortunately. Compared to the first two, this is quite overly drying and... I will double check off camera with the missus that she's poured the correct one. But I think, yeah, that is slightly below par for what I was expecting. There is a lemonness coming through, but there isn't too much overall on the malt. I'm going to go in again. Yeah, the first quality of it is it just dries out the tip and front of the tongue. So that's where it hits you, and it just dries that straight out. But it doesn't create that sort of salivating feeling. It just dries it, rolls on. Carbonation's not massive on it, so it could be more carbonated. Yeah, that's a bit of a dud in the semi-finals for me, it feels like. So yeah, the Mrs. Had confirmed that is the right beer for the semi-final here. Okay, let's jump on to D. I hope it's a bit more redeeming. It's been waiting a bit, so I will give it a swirl on the head to see how it builds up. Yeah, that builds up nice. Small little bubble tight white head. I know what this is immediately. I don't know what beer it is because I've been blinded from that, but I do know what quarterfinal that's from. That's from quarterfinal 4. It smells like, just to reiterate, this smells like the malt extracts from brew kits, and when you put that in to your bucket or whatever you're brewing in, and you add that hot water, when you do that and start mixing it, the smell that comes off smells like this. It's a beautiful smell. It fills the whole house. It reminds me as well, like it's similar when you go to a brewery and they're actually doing brewing that day. When you get that smell coming through of the malts, that's what that smells like. It smells like fresh sort of malts. Oh, in the air. Right, enough with the nose. Let's go into the taste. Question to ask. Is it too sweet? The malt sweetness is there. The hop is there. Carbonation could be better. I think I've said that for all of these. They could do with a bump up in carbonation slightly. But is it a bit too sickly sweet after coming through these where I've had slight sweetness and then going to this? It may be pushing the sweetness level a bit too far. I think I'm going to have a proper, thorough side-by-side tasting on all of these off camera and then come back with my decision of the two that I'm going to put through to the final. So I've made a decision. I've come back to that decision doing what I done previously on like where I had my 10 blinded beers and I was tasting, and to decide to move up, I'd taste one against the other. And I've done that. So I started with A, taste against B. Then I decided for A over B, done B against C, and likewise. So just went through tasting, comparing. I think what's probably going to come across here is I have a bit of a sweet tooth, and I think this is what's going to dictate what goes into the final, unfortunately. And you can disagree entirely in the comments, but how I'm going is in first place, I'm putting through A. A hit all the notes, great body, beautiful malt taste, and overall a very enjoyable beer. That beat, as I said, B. I then compared B to C, B beat C, and then I compared B to D. And this is where my sweet tooth wins out. D, I felt was better than B. And when I compared D to A, I preferred A over D because A was not as sweet. So there's a sweet tooth, but there's a sweet element where it goes too sweet. So in short, D is in second place. A is in first. I like both these beers. They are more on the sweeter side. They've got a sweet malt element that comes with them. What's interesting is this one obviously has some hops on it and it's got a haze. This one seems like a German, Polish, Czech style beer maybe. It's more malty, so it's more malt forward, and it has that sweetness from the malt that it depends upon. So first place A, second place D. These are both through to the final. These two are runners up. Not bad beers. I'm not saying that anywhere near bad. I mean, anything that potentially got through to the quarterfinals was good, but these are strong contenders. But they just did not, with my palate, make it through. Obviously, with other people's palate, they might not even got to this stage. But yep, we've got our first set of finalists. Let's get on to the second semi-final. Well, you know the two, I don't, that are through to the final. We're going to find out which other two are going to join them. These look to have had a healthy pause on them because they've all got mighty heads apart from DSC here. Let's get into A. I might have to move it about to try and get to the nose. Oh no, actually, straight away, nose comes off well. Oh, it's a light, delicate nose. There's a little bit of like pine and then the malt in there. But it's not a huge overpowering nose. It's a delicate nose. I mean, that's got like a fingerhead on it. So that's been either aggressively poured or these were all, very active. Let's see how it is on the taste. Straight away, great carbonation on that one. Really good carbonation. Oh, it's clean, it's crisp. Oh, that is, to start with, that's amazing. It does have that little hot bitterness in there, but it is just a crisp, clean, malty. And by malty, I mean it's crisp and clean with a light malt element on there. So there is a malty element that comes through. That is really good. That is a good start to this. I can't even remember what quarterfinal that's from, but that is a standout already. The rest have to compete and compare against it, otherwise they're not going to get through to the final. We're looking at C here. So I didn't compare colour. I would say A, B, and D are all very much on the straw towards golden colour, but no, towards more pale. So yeah, they're going like a more pale colour. Nose-wise, on this one, oh, it's very similar to A. Okay, it has a light malt nose with, I said, that bit of grass element to it. Okay, let's go in. Ooh. Carbonation, not as good immediately. It's lacking in carbonation on this one. Also, the finish isn't as clean. The malt is there, but the malt leaves a slight off note compared to A. So B, it is malty. The malt is there. It's just not as rounded as A in the overall profile of the beer. I'm not going to say it's an off note, but that malt isn't quite up to the sweet malt of A. And I say, don't forget, A is not overpowering. It's a light sweet malt. This one, the malt is there, but it just has a slight, not quite hitting the right notes. It's hard to express this. I know. I'm struggling to express. It's got a dry element to it, and it's also got not so smooth element to it. It feels like it's, I don't want to say the word dusty. I don't know why I'm saying dusty, but yeah, compared to A, it's not as smooth. The malt isn't as rounded on the finish. I'm rambling. I'll probably cut some of that out. Let's get on to C. C is our darkest beer of the lot here. Also seem to not have a head like the others, but quick swirl around, you can see it does build up a head on there. Doesn't seem to be any actual carbonation rising off the nucleated base of the glass here. Nose is promising. It's more malty than the first two. Although, and again, I'm going to go back to references I've used before. It has more a shredded wheat style nose. So you get a bowl of shredded wheat, and before you add the milk, or maybe even after you add the milk, you'll get that whiff of a nose off it. Let's go for a taste. Good malty flavour. The body is slightly lacking, and the carbonation is lacking as well. It's not got the overall rounded profile that I was expecting. That malt nose carries through straight away. So that shredded wheat flavour I was on about comes through. It's a nice taste. I know I've said before about non-alcoholic lagers when I've tasted them. I said they just taste like shredded wheat. But I mean, if you have shredded wheat and it's got a body to it, and it has a bit of bitterness and all the rest, it's good. But if you replace this beer just with an extract of shredded wheat, it would smell the same, but it would be thin and lacking. So shredded wheat for me isn't an off note. It's a good note. I like the smell of it. I like the taste of it. It's just the body could be a bit better and a bit more carbonation on it. Give him the D, they said. Hey, will that make the edit? Probably. I want a D. This is the palest out of them all. It's actually, no, I'd say it's on a level with B. I'm just going to, whoops, spill a bit while checking the carbonation. Dropping on the table. The missus will kill me. Oh, okay. So let me just swirl that properly, just check, because it has been a little weight. Okay, no, it does build up a nice, tight white head. Now, I'm going to reiterate a few things, or maybe talk about things that I've said many times and never explained. The tight white head means that it's not huge bubbles coming up, because that means the head isn't going to be retained for a long time. The small, tiny bubbles is what you want, because that's actual forming a tight head, and a tight head means that it will hopefully hang around for quite a while. And then that's why it's important when you're getting it poured in a pub that they're not swirling it about to make the head. It should naturally form with the bubbles. I'm not using gravity to create it. I'm swirling the beer around in the glass, and the glass is naturally creating this tight white head. Enough of beer lessons. Maybe it's another video. Go through beer etiquette. Nose is... It's very faint. It's like a very faint cereal malt. Yeah, very faint on the cereal malt nose. Let's go for a taste. The face of disappointment in a semi-final. Yeah, a bit lackluster for me overall. It's the body is light. The carbonation is verging towards the light element. The cereal note is there. It just doesn't match up with the other ones that we've got in the group. It's definitely more on a light beer side. And when I say light beer, I don't mean low ABV or anything like low calories. I don't mean that. I mean, it's not a malt forward beer. It's a, I'm not even going to say Helles, because I don't think it's Helles style, but it's a beer that's just clean without much profile to it. But you do want something from your beer, and if it's not got carbonation, it's not got a body, and it's not got a nose, why aren't you drinking water at that stage if it doesn't have a taste? And the taste is lacking slightly on that. Okay. I will retaste, and I'll come back with the two that are going to go through to the final, which I don't think it's going to be that one, but could surprise you all in the retaste, couldn't I? Okay. Oh, I'm excited, and I know the result. So in first place, I am putting through, probably is no surprise, beer A. Straight from the get-go. The taste of it, the body of it, the carbonation of it, that was spot on for me. That is top quality beer. That is going through in first place. In second place is not Beer D. Beer D I'm discounting entirely. I just feel it did not match up to the quality of the other two or other three we've got here. So second place is between B and C. What it's come down to for me is the overall malt profile. There wasn't much overall to separate between them, but one of them just had a slight edge in overall maltiness, not sweetness, but maltiness that I enjoyed when I was tasting and comparing. And that is beer C. So second place is C, first place is A. These are the finalists, joining the other two from the previous semi-final. That was a close runner-up, and that was nowhere near. So I'll see you in the next video, where we are at the final.